Well, Prototype Showcase is where we get to try out all the different exhibits in a sort of a rough form where we can then evaluate to see what's working, what isn't working, and then use that information to make the best final exhibits possible. So I think this is a good exhibit to look at the difference between a prototype exhibit and a final exhibit. So here, this is the second version of this exhibit. We're just kind of trying out a couple different things. Here you have a whistle, and then these pieces that you can connect to the whistle. This one, you can change the length like a trombone. And so what we're trying to do, what we're looking at in the prototype is the different mix of pieces. We have an adjustable length piece, a piece with a hole that works like a flute, a piece with a funnel that works as an amplifier, and then some short and long pieces. The long one, that's the compressor sound, and the short one. And so we're trying to see, these are some basic design principles behind air instruments. We're trying to see if people understand that, and then in the final version we'll actually make, right now the signage is all printed on matte board, or on foam core, sorry, which is very temporary, and the design is temporary. This is actually cardboard and just cheap wood from the shop. We even have the label still on this metal, so these graphics are taped up. We're kind of taking a look at the look of the exhibition, and we'll make this out of more permanent materials and also figure out the right mix of pieces, and then the final pieces will be made out of more durable materials that have a more finished look. A lot of this exhibition is about showing how science and engineering are used to design musical instruments, and how musical instruments are designed for art, for creativity, for expression. So one of the things we're looking at in this prototype showcase is to see if visitors understand some of the design differences between instruments in a family. So all the instruments that we have here are string instruments. What makes the sound on these instruments is the strings, but some of the design variables are about how you change the different sounds of the instrument, or how you make different notes. So for example, on the bass, we change the notes by changing the length of the string. So when I hold down the string with my finger, I'm effectively shortening the length of the string as I move down the bridge, or down the board. And then if we go over here to the harp has a number of strings. Different harps have different numbers of strings. I think this one is 14 or 16. And the reason that it has so many strings is because you don't change the length of the strings. Each string is set as a specific note. And so to play a different note on the harp, you just play a different string. So this is a way that people have designed musical instruments to play a wide range of notes, but using a very different kind of technique and design approach. And it's one way that we're seeing the science and the engineering expressed in the design of musical instruments. So we've adapted this prototype to work with a real, authentic cymbal, snare drum, drum that we're using is a bass drum, and a tambourine. Oh, and also we have the shoe to keep time by tapping your foot. And so you can actually take these pegs and change them around to set up whatever rhythm you want. Right now we're watching to see how people use it, try to figure out places where it can improve, and then make a really excellent final version of it. So we can set up a little different rhythm. And here we go. So I wanted to highlight this prototype because I think it's pretty interesting. This is an electronic instrument, and actually what we're using here is software. So I think that the idea that musical instruments don't necessarily need to have a physical form, but they can actually be software-based. So this uses a touchscreen, and what happens is you highlight one of these squares, and it'll play on a loop. And so then you can draw a picture, and it'll turn that picture into music. Or you can make a pattern. And it's very easy to play. It sounds really good. And one thing it does is it allows people to play around with composing their own music, where some of the other instruments aren't quite as easy for people to do that. This one, it's really easy for you to compose, make a melody, hear what it sounds like, and then make a change. So we can play some more notes up here. Maybe make another little splash of sound right here. And then take that away if we want. and then maybe add a few little bits here and there. And it's just a fun, very easy way to compose your own tune using a software instrument.